innovative, that rural is exciting, that rural is a great choice. And here you are in a cocoon of the wonderful, supportive environment where all ideas seem possible. And it is wonderful. But as we said at the very beginning of this, when you said, what are the problems, the flying monkeys at home that create problems for you, who did you name? Those other people, the negativity, the cave people, those people who are determined to kill every one of your ideas. And you know the kinds of things that they say.
We've done that before. It didn't work. We can't trust you. You failed before. Long after you're gone, we'll still be here. Your ideas don't work.
They make you swallow your best ideas, don't they? It's like you can hear that voice inside your head. And when you think of one of these great ideas, you know that when you get home, you don't want to watch them take your great idea and kill it in public. And so you swallow your best ideas. Because these are the people who strangle you with their rules and their requirements and their regulations. And you look at the wonderful things that other people accomplish, and there's some part of you that thinks to yourself, it must be different in their town. Maybe they don't have those people, right? They don't have, or theirs are not as bad as mine. Maybe theirs are better. Do you not ever feel that? Do you not ever think maybe they don't have as much opposition as we do? What do they do to get their ideas taken seriously? Well, there are some specific things that you can do to have your ideas taken more seriously in your community, and to make better progress on your ideas, no matter whether the negative people ever come along with you or not. And so that is the concept that we call idea friendly. Could you just make your community a little more open to new ideas, a little more friendly to new ideas? And you do it by gathering your crowd. And just like you feel the warmth of the cocoon here together, you can do this, you can replicate that in your own town. And besides, when there's a crowd of you, it's harder for them to shoot at you successfully, right? If there's a crowd of you all doing things, that gives them more targets. They can't possibly stop you all. Additionally, I want you to make connections. The second part of it is to make connections. When you connect the people who are all doing different experiments in your town with each other, with resources, with the people that you've met here, with other people you're aware of, you build the possibility of more things happening successfully. And finally, the most important thing, and the thing that we'll talk about today, is take small steps. Dr. B.J. Fogg of Stanford University set up the Fogg behavioral model. And we have at least one person who knows the Fogg behavioral model. And he says that when motivation is low, you need to increase the ability to achieve the task, which means cut down the size of the task. Make the thing to do easier. Build small steps. You'll see us do that because that's how we remind each other that if you build small steps, it's easier to do. The example we'll use today is going into business, because business is the foundation of prosperity for your town. But you can adapt this concept of building small steps for art projects, for recreation projects, for any kind of project that you're working on in your community. You can build small steps and take inspiration from these business models. And so let's talk about that big leap of going into business the traditional way.
Yes,
Tell us what that's like.
You know I'm the chamber director, so let's talk about it. You come to my office and ask me, how do I start a business? And I get one of those every week or so. And I tell you, do you have a business plan? Well, no? All right, let's go to the Small Business Development Center. They're going to help you write a business plan. Do you have any money? Oh, guys, well, you're going to have to figure out how to get some money, and it usually takes a lot of money. You're going to need a building. Well, you don't have a building? Well, you're going to need that money to get a building. And in Iowa, the buildings are usually built late 1800s, early 1900s, so you know they're going to need some work, probably a lot of work. And you're going to make sure that those buildings are in good structural sense, so you're going to have to hire developers or their construction guys to make sure they meet your needs. You're going to need product to fill the building. it's gonna be 2 to 5 years before you even make any money. And you're gonna have to go to the bank to, you see where this is going, right?
Yeah, there's a lot there.
There's a lot that you have to do before you're gonna go from here to here before you even begin to think about making money. But what if we did something different? What if we took some small steps first?
You guys are gonna end up doing that by the end of the talk, right? You're gonna do it. We're gonna make you do it, right?
Right?
I know it's early and y'all haven't had enough coffee, but warm up with us here. Come on, we're all small town people, we can hang out. So we're gonna give you, that was the whole small steps lecture. Okay, so we're gonna give you the 5 innovative rural business models. And the first one are pop-ups at events. You know what pop-ups at events are? They're booths. They're like this. They're any chance that you get to put a business in front of a crowd of people. That's a pop-up. We call it pop-up because then it sounds cooler, right? Than just, I had a booth at the event, so, oh, well, I ran a pop-up business at the event. Deb has an entire event that's nothing but pop-ups.
That's right. This is our Junk Fest, and every Memorial Day, we have 3 days of Junk Fest. And junk is refurnished, rehab, junk, antiques, all that fun stuff. And we have this year we had 85 vendors come in from all over the state. And of those 85 vendors, approximately 2/3 of them were not brick and mortars. They were people that had hobbies in their garage, and they thought, let's test it out. Let's take some small steps. Let's see if we have the market to sell some of this crap we got in our garage, right? Some of them were, we have some stuff in our garage, let's go sell that, and let's go buy some more stuff, because my wife needs more stuff in the house, right? Some of them actually were thinking about starting a brick and mortar, but they had to see if it actually would work. And the ones that actually were brick and mortars had goals that they had to set, like Liz Hammond does. If I don't meet my goal in my brick and mortar, I gotta make some more money. So let's go work at events and make that extra money. So everybody there was taking small steps in one way or another. You see it go to the county fair. How many of the people that are set up in booths at your county fair? It's county fair season. You're seeing the same thing.
Okay, model number 2, tiny business villages. Can I talk about TNS?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, talk about TNS.
All right, TNS, Pennsylvania, one of my favorite places. Look at the picture. Do you realize that those are garden sheds? Oh my God, garden sheds. They took small garden sheds, and they make medium and large ones. You can go right across the street and find different sized garden sheds, by the way. And they made the fronts of them to match the fronts of the buildings in their community. They put them on an empty lot in town. They rent them out for $50 to $100 every month. And they put people like the guy that makes fishing lures, rents it out, and sells his fishing lures. By the way, TNS is a town of 500 people. Check that out, 500 people. They rent them out to the local winery. Here's another small step that's out of town in the country and wants to try a second spot so that they can sell some wine in town, to see if that would work out. By the way, it works out. And different types of vendors are trying out this market. They fill an empty lot. The businesses in town are cleaning up their act, so everybody's looking bright, shiny, and new. And look at everybody just hanging out. And people from other towns in the county and around the country, because we're here talking to you about TNS in Pennsylvania, are going to visit this tiny business village.
There's another one in Pascagoula, Mississippi, called Anchor Square. They received some tiny houses from their emergency management association because they were used as Katrina cottages in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. They ended up at the emergency management group. They donated, and they end up in Pascagoula on that big dirty lot by the railroad tracks that adjoins their downtown. So it's going from the big dirty lot by the downtown to this cool shopping venue with a cool little clothing boutique, services like a photographer, all kinds of nifty little businesses located in these tiny spaces that are much more affordable than being all by yourself in a giant building. So small steps. And then the other thing to keep in mind is there is a wonderful cocoon here. There's a wonderful cocoon at being anywhere that you have a shared space. Like any of the shared spaces where you get lots of businesses together, like a downtown, or like a tiny business village, you generate more momentum together than you do separately. Number 3, let's look at another example of how you can build that momentum with shared spaces. This is in Iowa, Washington, Iowa, and they had a building that had been a department store, 15,000 square feet. Who is going to find a tenant to fill 15,000 square feet? Nobody. It sat empty for years and years and years until this crazy lady named Kathy Lloyd convinced the building owner to divide it up. And so here's what they did inside of it. They made a village inside of the big 15,000 square foot department store. There are a dozen little shops inside there, and they look like little shops. They have little storefronts. And so if they vary in size. There's bigger ones and smaller ones, but if that's still too big for you, if you're just taking small steps, if you're a hobbyist that makes jewelry and you can't fill up an entire storefront in there, then maybe you can just do a table. They have little tabletops. You can see them in the picture. There's a little table right down front and center that's full of jewelry. Somebody's doing a business that's just a tabletop. And then from there, there's little push carts. You can see a push cart in the center. That push cart gives you 3 shelves of room to display your stuff, so that's another step up. And then you can step up and fill one of the little spaces, and she has successfully launched businesses from there to their own building in town. So you can see, taking small steps, right? Anybody willing to do it with me right now? Take small steps. Thank you.
There you
go. Take small steps. That's how you make it work.
And Washington, Iowa is 7,000 people, just to give you the idea of the size of the community.
It's a very good
small.
sized town,
Yeah.
but lots of us, if you have an empty building at home that's sat empty for years, it's too big for somebody to fill, go start twisting arms of that business owner and go, let's divide it up. I heard this great idea. All right. Showing spaces. There's another one of these in Napanee, Indiana.
Look at this, 100,000 square feet. Good Lord, what are you gonna do with 100,000 square feet, right? They figured out how to put bread making, help me out, Becky. They've got all kinds of cool things.
Handmade, locally made, locally produced. They have fresh baked goods, and then they have one of those high-tech scientific ice cream makers in here that's making with the wizardry of chemistry, making instant ice cream. It's awesome. And the great thing is, this was 100,000 square feet of manufacturing space. This is Napanee, Indiana, where they used to make the Hoosier cabinets, and my grandma had one, and your grandma had one, and nobody makes them anymore. What are they going to do with 100,000 square feet? And so they're breaking it up and doing small individual businesses, and they're doing it piece by piece. They didn't start, and they took the small steps advice. They didn't just go, we'll do all 100,000 square feet. No, they broke it up and they started with little chunks, and they progressed from there. There's another one of these in Grand Rapids.
That's right, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Now we know Grand Rapids, Michigan is huge, but there's an example there that we want to share with you. There's a local artist called Rose Ellis, and she was given one wall, just one wall. And she didn't even consider in her lifetime that that would totally change her life. And Rose was able to exhibit some of her artwork on this one wall, and she has a quote that Becky's going to share with you, because I can't ever remember it, and Becky can, that totally, to share the quote with you, because it's perfect, with these fine folks here.
When they interviewed Rose, she said, you couldn't get me out of here with a crowbar. It is the best business plan I never thought of. It has turned my life around. And that's the power of small steps. By giving her one wall, she's been able to make her business be successful, her arts business be successful in a way she could never have done on her own, trying to bring that many people together to view her art. It's the environment, it's the cocoon, it's the momentum that they all have together. It's the magic of taking small steps together that made it something that turned her life around. That's how you turn people's lives around in your own community. Season-long pop-ups.
Season-long pop-ups. So there's a community in Illinois called Homewood, and they have a beautiful downtown, and they have quite a few empty spaces. And they were waiting for, I believe it was 7 or 8 empty spaces, and they were waiting for the 5-year lease tenants. We're all waiting for those, right? But finally they got smart enough and said, okay, we have these empty spaces over Christmas, from Thanksgiving to the end of December. Let's try something a little bit different. Let's do 5-week leases. And it turned out to be just a brilliant move, because they let 5-week leases come in and do the season-long pop-ups over the holidays. And their chamber director, I believe it was, said that that was just the smartest move they could have made. Because number one, they filled up the stores over the holidays. made it even more vibrant downtown community, and some of those businesses have gone on to remain businesses. It's a win-win situation. What empty buildings do you have? Take a small step, let your local people come in, let your students, we've got a couple here, come in with brilliant ideas and do some things downtown. Take small steps.
Take small steps. Do it with us, guys. Small steps. I like this. I want you to remember.
Come
and
on.
the next time somebody puts that big project in front of you in your town, and then throughout the day, when you're hearing these great ideas, I want you to go, what's the first small step we can take? What are the small steps? So you're all doing. Okay. Delaware also does this. They have a project pop up in Delaware. And over the last 4 years, what they have done is they have carefully selected businesses that have already taken some small steps. They're selling online. They have built up a loyal market following, at least a little one, and then they've placed them in temporary leases for a short time of 3 months just to try things out. So they've worked with, over the 4 years, they've worked with 18 businesses. 18. 17 have signed long-term leases. So taking small steps really does work. It prepares you, it gets you in place, and lets you move forward. Finally, that was that one. Okay, store inside a store.
Store
Business
inside a
business.
That's me, by the way. At the restaurant right next door to my office, and it's a nice, lovely lunch restaurant, but if you take a good look at the picture, you'll see some furniture, you'll see some jewelry, you'll see local authors that have published books that they're selling, and you'll also, if you walk around the store, there's a local photographer that has his work displayed. So this particular business allows other businesses, other entrepreneurs to take small steps and put their items in that store. Some are on commission, so the store owner makes a small commission. That's their rent, if you will, for putting their things there, and some are not. It's up to the individuals. They're taking small steps. They work it all out. And you'll see this everywhere. Another thing that fits in with store inside a store. How many women here go to a beauty salon to get their hair done? Yeah, everybody, right? Eventually, you get my age, you eventually go. Yeah, Becky turned her head. The beauty, if you have more than one beauty operator in a salon, they're independent contractors. They're your original entrepreneurs. They're your original hustlers. They're taking small steps. Go up to the counter to pay for it, and you'll see jewelry, you'll see nail polish, you'll see all kinds of scarves, knick-knack kind of things. This is Becky's beauty salon.
It is. Yeah, and so you can see they had, different retail stuff that was on display. When I went and got my haircut last week, they had a new display. There's a local woman that's making headbands. She was doing it as a hobby, and then other ladies liked them, and so she brought them in and put them on display, and they're for sale. Now, there is some part of your brain going, oh, that's just a gal making headbands and putting them on display. The economic developer in you should be going, startup, entrepreneur, gaining a critical market intelligence through a time-limited market experiment. Right? Memorize those buzzwords and hit your economic developer with them next time you're in this conversation with them. Because store inside a store is a powerful way. They know they've got the foot traffic right there. This is economic development. Beauty salons are business incubators. They really are. And you know who told me that? My Chamber of Commerce director, Alex Nance. Alex is a girl. That's how she knew. I don't think guys realize that that's what's going on in the beauty salons. This is in my local furniture store. Are there some guys who knew that beauty salons are full of startup businesses? I thought I heard a little boo from somebody who knew that already. Okay, no, but now you guys know they're full of businesses. This is my local furniture store. We were having a ladies' night out. It was a shopping event. That's that downtown evening, please keep your stores open into the evening event. And so this, on my local furniture store called Wickedly Rustic, was having additional vendors in their store during that event to generate more foot traffic. Those people brought their customers. The customers all led together. There was a lot of life and activity downtown. So you can see on the table in the foreground, there's jewelry, a local jewelry consultant who does a home sales of jewelry, has all her stuff spread out on the table. And then in the background, there's a woman that is a skincare consultant standing at the stand-up bar. She's doing giving information, a little mini facial right there for you. All of that happening right inside the store on Ladies' Night Out, adding more life and activity to an existing event. This is perhaps The easiest one of these models to take back and put to work in your town immediately, which is that you walk downtown and you start looking at buildings. Who has an extra office? Who has a little extra space up front that they're not really filling? Look at the insurance offices, the lawyers' offices. Everybody that's got just a little bit of extra space, have they got one wall? Could we put a Rose Ellis artist on one wall and turn her life around? That's the magic of store inside the store, and it is accessible to every single one of you right now. It's the easiest trick to do. Now, we have, believe it or not, breezed through our topic early. We're looking at our little timer here because we want to make sure we don't go long, because Beth will shoot us if we go long.
Will not.
So we brought some bonus stuff just in case we got excited and went through them early. So we're going to talk about some bonus business models, the first of which is co-working. Now, co-working sounds like a big city thing. Aberdeen's doing co-working, but what about our little towns? Can they do co-working? Can small
I
towns
think we
do
can. Anybody here Dutch?
We have a Dutch speaker in the room.
So, Velhausen?
Hoden.
Velhoden?
Many
Did I
hats.
say it right?
How do you say that?
Many hats. Velhoden is a Dutch co-working space in Iowa. And it started with a guy who had an idea in Pella, Iowa. Pella's very Dutch. We go there for Dutch letters because where else would you go? And this is Velhoden. So they started with an idea, and Pella is approximately, and it keeps stuck on those 7,000, 8,000, a lot of towns in Iowa that size. And co-working is a space, it's not just a space where they put a bunch of little offices together. The idea with a co-working space is if you need somewhere to get out of your house and get out of the coffee shop with your laptop, and a bunch of like-minded people can go and get together and go do their work. So if you have an idea, Dushan, I'm sitting at a table working and I want to be able to turn to you and say, hey, I got this idea, what do you think about this idea? And we can kind of have that conversation while we're working. That's the beauty of a co-working space. You can share information, or you can go and just be by yourself and work. So what empty building could you use in your town? Everybody's got empty buildings, right? Right? Yeah, absolutely. And with the beauty of downtowns, it's easier to have broadband internet in your downtown than it is with a satellite out in the country. We all know that experience too. So think about how you could utilize an empty space downtown to provide Corey. So when you're traveling and you need to stop and answer some emails, wouldn't it be great to have a little co-working space to pop into when you're in between your 4 factories? That would be awesome, right? So he could pop in and do a little bit of work, and maybe you run into Dushan and you have a question, you can share some information. So I'm making stuff up as I go.
Next.
I know, right? But that's what co-working does.
So if co-working is bring your laptop and we'll all work together in the same location, then a makerspace is bring your project, your thing, and we'll all make it together. So this is where the tinkerers go to hang out. So bring your tinkering projects. And Liz Hannon is doing one of these right here in Aberdeen. And what I like about it, this is Liz. Hi, say hi to Liz. She'd love to hook you up with a tour of their space. And what I liked about her space, she let us in last night. You were given tours. And in their space, they have kind of 2,000 square feet. So not a huge amount of territory, in which there is a shared co-working space, there's private office, a classroom, conference room kind of thing, and then there's like one room that's probably smaller than your bedroom, considerably smaller. That's the makerspace, because Liz understands this idea, right? And you do too, right? Do it. Take your hands apart. Go like this, go. Small steps. We're all going to do small steps. Remember, that is what BJ Fogg established. That is the easiest way to get things going. When motivation is low, make your ability better by reducing the size of the steps. All right. Arts makerspaces. So if you have a makerspace where they have 3D printers and circuit boards and soldering irons and 3D printed candy and other cool stuff, what about the artists? Why not have an artist's makerspace? This one is in Sulphur, Oklahoma. It's run by the Chickasaw Nation. And Mark Mulligan, who's with Chickasaw Nation, told me that his vision for this was for it to be like an arts co-working space. and arts incubator, he said. It was going to be like his experience in college when he met other fellow artists, and they all gave each other inspirational ideas, and he tried out different modes and styles of art that he had never tried. He worked with media he had never worked with before because he was surrounded by other artists, and that's some of the magic that they're bringing together in a place called the Artesian Gallery in Sulphur, Oklahoma, which is a very small town of under 1,000 people. And it's a wonderful project. I love the idea of bringing them together for that wonderful feeling of a cocoon. All right, and finally, this is the last of them, the trucks and trailers. Who doesn't love truck and trailer businesses? You've been looking at these, and now there's been all the headlines about cool food trucks, and you've been really jealous because you don't have them in your small town, right? But you've been looking at truck and trailer businesses for your whole life. Barbecue trailers, taco trailers. Who brings businesses to the fair? What kind of businesses set up at the fair? Do they bring an entire bricks and mortar? No, they come in a truck or a trailer, right? Right? My goodness, people wake up. Come on. They're asleep. I don't know. We put them to sleep. This is terrible.
Well, let's talk about Cosmos.
Talk about Cosmos.
On our way here, I picked Becky up in Minneapolis, and we took a small town tour on the way here. And we had to stop in Cosmos, Minnesota, because there was a trailer. It was so cool, laser tag trailer, because they were having the space festival. Of course, we had to stop.
Go to Cosmos, go to the Space Festival. It's awesome. It runs 3 days. They do it every year. You need to go.
Third weekend in July. There's a plug for Cosmos. And they had literally pulled in these inflatable hay bales and fun stuff, and they set up laser tag. And all these kids were playing laser tag in a trailer event. It was, you guys would have loved it. It was really awesome. And what was so interesting about that, we're at the information booth talking to two old guys, or an old guy and his wife. And two young girls in their 20s came up and said, "Can we ask you some information? We found this on Google Maps, and is this for real?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's Cosmos, Minnesota, but is there really a space festival here?" Every street in town is named Milky Way, Galaxy Road. I mean, if you've not been to Cosmos, it's just down the road a piece from here, so it's worth the trip in July, right?
So Deb's telling the young girls, okay, Instagram moment, go take a selfie with every street sign so that you have, the Milky Way above your head. Because, well, honestly, the people at the info booth weren't thinking Instagram moments. That was just
we
not
were.
what they thought.
So.
But the other thing about truck and trailer businesses that I really think we better tell them is this is important because you can build your market out of more than one town. Not enough market in your town to support your business? Not a problem. Take your business on the road. Gather up a group of small towns. Make yourself a circuit. On Tuesdays, we're in Canton. On Wednesdays, we're in Fairfield. And just make your circuit and go around. That way you can actually scrape together enough demand to make your business work, even though you don't have that demand in your small town.
We had a wedding planner that came to Junk Fest in a trailer. Yeah. Imagine that, wedding dresses in a trailer going to different places. Yeah. Niece's Pieces carries plus size clothes, and she brings them in a trailer and goes, she's from Des Moines, but she travels around to small towns with her trailer. I mean, it's not just food.
I want to remind you of what it takes to make your town more idea friendly. It's not that other places don't have opposition. And it's not that the negative people in your town will suddenly turn into cheerleaders for change. That committee of negativity is still meeting. They are still complaining. But fewer and fewer people are listening to them because the center of power has shifted. The center of power has shifted to you. When you gather your crowd and together you crowdsource the future of your town, when you find the other people who are willing to take small steps with you and do tiny little experiments, and you then have a dozen people, 2 dozen, 100 people, all doing small steps, all trying things out, all experimenting, and all of this crowdsourcing going on, then you create a spectacle, like Emily said. You are drawing people's attention away from that committee of negativity. And when you build connections, when you connect your people to each other and you go, you're having an experiment doing goat farming? Have you met this gal who's wanting to do cheese? We need to bring you people together. because these are the things that create more momentum in your community. So make the connections within your community among all those experimenters. And then build the connections outside your community. Build your connections outside your community to all of the amazing resources that are together available, and there's a bunch of them together here right now. Resources you can leverage and connect with and bring to your community. And finally, remember the one thing we want you to remember. Take small steps, because that is the magic to making it work. Okay? Never doubt for a moment that what you do can change the future of your town. You are doing the most important work possible. You are shaping the lives of everyone in your community right now, and the legacy that you're leaving for the people in the future of your town. Because it can never go back to the way it was. It can never go back to the way it was. You have to start from here and move forward. And that's the beauty of what you bring to your town. Never doubt the importance of it.